And joining us now with more on the anti-terror operations in Judea and Samaria is Dr. Eric Mandel, founder and director of the Middle East Political and Information Network. Eric, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So we're seeing an increase in attempted terror attacks. Some officials have said there are attacks being thwarted on a daily basis. I mean, what can you tell us about these anti-terror operations?
So I've been on the front lines in Judea and Samaria with the Panther Battalion in Jenin and Nablus. And what I think people don't realize, because you're on a 7-front war, is that what's gone on in the West Bank has been going on a very long time. Way before October 7th, the reason why things were under control is because Israeli forces were going in every single day and night and extracting terrorists and keeping a lid on it. And that's only because ever since the Second Intifada and defensive shield, Israel went back in and now operates in areas A and B. Those are the areas that Palestinians, especially A, was supposed to be in control of, but could not, Palestinian Authority. And so Israel has decided to make some major operations, the biggest that have occurred since the Second Intifada. And the answer is why? And the answer is Iran. Iran is trying to destabilize the West Bank, is trying to increase the ring of fire around Israel. You have in the north Hezbollah, in the south Hamas, you have the Houthis, you have Iraq. They're trying to destabilize Jordan, and they have definite eyes and plans on the West Bank. And Hamas is in control of many of the cities in the West Bank right now, including Tulkarem, half of Qalqilia. You're talking about horrible problems with Islamists and all their varieties, including Palestinian Islamic Jihad, but mainly Hamas, and all from Iran in Jenin, Nablus, Hebron. And so this is something that Israel has had to do, again, to keep a lid here. And interestingly enough, there's a parallel here when people talk about the day after for Gaza. This is kind of what it's going to look like. Israel is going to have to look at Gaza for years to come as Area A and go in every night and extract terrorists to keep the lid on what's going on.
A very stark reality. How do residents, I mean, what are you hearing from residents of Judea and Samaria? How do they feel in the wake of these increased threats? You know, this has been going on for a long time, but now we're really seeing increased threats. Is there still a sense of security? Is there a deep concern for their safety?
I think the residents, the 500,000 or so Israeli citizens who live there, are concerned about the security. You know, they're unfortunately in the United States, they're being defined by the rogue settlers, who are a very tiny minority. But most people are law-abiding people who want to just live there, and they are worried that they are not being prioritized. There is, again, a parallel. The people in the north feel that they are not being prioritized and they're not in their homes. The people in the Gaza envelope think they're not being prioritized. They think that basically the government is mainly interested in keeping quiet in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And so those people there do feel a little bit abandoned. And I think this is an important point, that Israel cannot let the West Bank get out of control. 7 fronts, this could easily turn into the major front.
So
and
that's,
you know that,
that's my next question. Is Judea and Samaria now another war front? And, you know, how will this impact, or how is this impacting the ongoing war in Gaza and, of course, the security situation in the north, you know, foreseeing the IDF also operating in this region?
So there are more soldiers today in West Bank than there are in Gaza, because the operations have changed. You have a situation where Israel does not have total control of its longest border, the Jordan River Valley. And because it doesn't, you're having arms, drugs, cash coming in from Iran through the Jordan River Valley. Where's it coming from? Iran. Iran bringing it through Iraq, into Syria, through northern Jordan, into Jordan to destabilize it, and into the West Bank. So in order to tie all these things together, in order to turn the West Bank into a quieter place, one of the things that has to happen is Jordan has to stop the infiltration of Iranian monies and weapons coming through there. And we in the United States have to step up here and help the Jordanians. Jordanians haven't been great in this whole war. The foreign minister has been kind of terrible in his anti-Semitic language and rhetoric ever since October. But Jordan is a linchpin here of keeping the West Bank stable.
All right, well, Dr. Eric Mandel, thank you so much for your analysis today. And of course, we'll continue monitoring what's happening in Judea and Samaria. Thank you.